All right, folks, we just got confirmation. The FBI just admitted Alex Jones was, in fact, right about Charlie Kirk's assassin. Now, I want you to think about this, okay? What the media mocked as a conspiracy is now the very trail that federal agents are chasing. And what they uncovered, it is darker and stranger and more coordinated than anyone had imagined. What we're talking about are premature headlines announcing Kirk's death hours, almost 24 hours, almost a full day before it happened. We're talking about a book, ladies and gentlemen, that was published the day before called The Shooting of Charlie Kirk. More importantly, or more specifically, I should say, The Shooting of Charlie Kirk, a comprehensive account of the Utah Valley University attack, the aftermath, and America's response. And yeah, so the FBI has their hands on the rifle, the ammo, and the engravings, everything that Jones warned you about. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up if you tried. Now, if you want, you can rewind what I just said, but think about the title of that book that I just told you about. How in the world can you write, publish, and make for sale, publish like on Amazon's platform, a book with that amount of specificity regarding an incident that technically didn't happen for another 24 hours before the book was released? Is that weird to anyone else? Anyway, so the question is, was this one huge deranged individual, or was this a stage that was set for Charlie Kirk's assassination days in advance? Because the deeper you dig, the harder it is for any of this to be a coincidence. And so now the manhunt is tightening. In fact, the FBI they're putting faces to the name, they're offering six-figure rewards, and they're labeling this what it truly is, a political assassination. So today, I want to go ahead and pull it all together. The clues that Alex Jones flagged, the FBI's confirmation, the media's disgusting spin on this, and why this moment feels like America just crossed a line that it just cannot come back from. Hit the like button, subscribe, strap in, because by the end of today's video, you're going to see why this assassination is far bigger than just Charlie Kirk himself. Not to minimize the situation at all, but it gets so much bigger when you look at the grand scheme. Now, this is about whether free speech survives in the United States or not. Guys, breaking news. The FBI has just confirmed what Alex Jones was screaming about days ago. Now, they mocked him. They called this a conspiracy, but now the very clues that he flagged, they're the same ones that the FBI is chasing as they close in on Charlie Kirk's assassin. And folks, when you hear the details, it's going to freak you out. You're going to get goosebumps. Mark my words. We're talking about a rifle which was recently recovered, ammo engraved with political hate. Photos of the suspect was plastered everywhere. $100,000 reward on the table. And here's the kicker. The FBI themselves are now calling this a political assassination. This is something that the mainstream media still refuses to say. Instead, they want to go ahead and spin it. They cover for what it really is. They protect. But today, the truth is it's crashing through the lies. Now, it gets even darker, guys, because premature headlines announcing Charlie Kirk's death before it happened. A book published the day before called The Shooting of Charlie Kirk. And yes, a very bizarre song in Utah released weeks ago titled Charlie Kirk Dead at 31. Yeah, Alex Jones, he blew the whistle. The FBI now confirms the trail is in fact real. The only question left was this random madness, or was this a coordinated hit that was planned days in advance, maybe even weeks? We're going to go ahead and break it all down step by step, from the FBI's new evidence to the eerie clues to President Trump's response and what this really means for America's future. Lock in, guys, because I have so much information that I want to share with you guys that has literally, this is breaking news just in the last few hours. All right, so I want to go ahead and start here. So as America's reflecting on the meeting of today, I mean, guys, the FBI just dropped a massive bombshell. Alex Jones was right. The mainstream media called crazy conspiracy talk has now been stamped with federal confirmation. The so-called hidden clue, well, it's no longer hidden. In fact, it is the very thread that the FBI says leads to Charlie Kirk's assassin. Now, think about that, okay? We were told to shut up. We were told to stop questioning, to stop connecting the dots, and now the dots are connecting themselves. This wasn't some random act of violence. This was political, this was targeted, and today it's closing in. So here's what we do know in fact. The FBI has released brand new images of the alleged assassin. They're everywhere right now. Salt Lake City field office, putting them out to the public. They want answers. They are offering a $100,000 reward for any tip that leads to an arrest. And it's not just images. They got the weapon. An imported 30-06 Mauser bolt-action rifle, deadly precise. And the ammo engraved with trans and anti-fascist slogans, exactly the kind of messaging that Alex Jones warned about. And now the FBI confirms it. Now, folks, let this sink in, okay? The Bureau is finally saying it out loud. This was a political assassination, the very first major assassination of the Trump era. But notice who won't actually come out and say what it really is. CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, they would rather hide behind these different euphemisms like cultural engravings. Cultural engravings? Are you freaking kidding me, guys? They treat an assassination like it's a piece of modern art. This is insulting. Am I the only one thinking this? This is dangerous, and it's proof that they'll protect the narrative at all costs. Now, your Medicare plan doesn't just affect you, it affects your family. When coverage fails, it often affects kids and grandkids who end up having to step in. This is why I partner with Chapter, because they help you secure Medicare coverage that protects you and the people you love. Now, one viewer said, calling Chapter gave me peace of mind that my grandkids wouldn't have to bail me out in the future. I love that. So let me ask you guys, do you want your family to worry about you, or do you want to do what most people are already doing and protect them? Now, most people, they're calling the phone number on the bottom of your screen right there, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. Phone number is 909-563-8279. Now, here's where this gets absolutely insane. Alex Jones, yes, the man that they love to call crazy, he just pointed to some huge clues that mainstream outlets either ignored or just blatantly covered up. And now the FBI is basically confirming that he was right all along. So I want to go ahead and start with this huge clue, okay? An Amazon listing. This is a book that's titled The Shooting of Charlie Kirk. Publication date, September 9th. This is the day before the assassination. How does this happen? How do you publish a book about an assassination before it occurs? Is that a coincidence? Or was something bigger at play here? Now, it doesn't stop there. Headlines from the New York Times and Los Angeles Times time-stamped 19 hours before Charlie Kirk was shot, already saying he was dead. 19 hours, guys. This wasn't a typo. This wasn't bad reporting. This was a prediction, or was it preparation? Either way, whatever it was, it stinks to high heaven. Now, comment prediction if you think it was prediction. Comment preparation if you thought it was preparation. Now, Alex Jones, he put it out there immediately, and the media mocked him. But today, the FBI confirms the exact evidence that Alex Jones flagged, the kind of thing that most people wouldn't even dare believe if it wasn't sitting in front of their own eyes. So the question is, did they know, or were they involved? Then comes the creepiest detail of all. A man in Utah, weeks ago, uploads a song titled Charlie Kirk Dead at 31. Not Charlie Kirk speech, not Charlie Kirk controversy, dead at 31. His exact age, the exact outcome. Posted before the murder. And when you look at the man's photo, remove the hat, remove the glasses, he looks eerily similar to the FBI's person of interest. Almost like he was taunting the world with his art. Okay? So now, is this coincidence? Is this some sick joke? Or is this like the kind of premeditation that shows us that this wasn't random at all? Now imagine being Erica Kirk, Charlie's widow, scrolling through the internet and finding out that some stranger already wrote a soundtrack to your husband's death before it happened. Imagine those two little kids, 5 years old and younger, growing up in a world where their father's assassin, was practically advertised in advance. This is not just chilling, this is pure evil. And so here's the part that is going to tie all of this together. The FBI's own trail. This is where the suspect went, okay? What he left behind, and of course, the evidence that confirms Alex Jones's warnings right down to the letter. So here's where the investigation turns from strange to seriously dangerous, okay? All right. So the FBI, they have traced the suspect's movements after the shooting. And folks, the evidence that was left behind at the sniper's nest is chilling. Photos show the exact firing position, knees dug into the roof, elbows planted, the forearm marks where the rifle steadied. The casing found right there, engraved with the same trans and anti-fascist messaging that Alex Jones was screaming about. Even the weapon itself, that imported 30-06 Mauser bolt-action rifle, it lines up perfectly with the theory that Jones had laid out. You can't make this stuff up. Guys, the FBI is they're admitting, whether they want to or not, that Alex Jones' so-called conspiracy, it lines up, it matches their evidence that they have point for point. And the mainstream media, they still act like none of this exists. But here's the kicker. The FBI, they're calling it what it is. They're calling it a political assassination. And that is a phrase you almost never hear from federal law enforcement. So ask yourself, if the FBI is confirming Alex Jones, why are CNN, MSNBC, and the rest still denying what's right in front of them? And this, folks, this is the part that really just kind of pisses me off to no end. CNN, they looked at the exact same ammo engravings and they called them cultural symbols. Cultural symbols? I mean, as if this was some kind of art project instead of a targeted political hit. It's insulting. It's propaganda. And it's meant to protect their narrative, not the truth. MSNBC, they went even lower than that. Analyst Matt Dow, he went on live TV as Charlie Kirk's body was still warm and suggested his so-called hate speech brought this on himself. Victim blaming on national television in real time. I mean, can you get any lower than that? But here's the twist though. MSNBC axed him the next day, fired him, scrambling in damage control. Even they knew he went too far, guys. Okay, this is how those people think. Deep down, they believe conservative voices deserve it. And don't forget, this is the same media that cheered when conservatives were deplatformed, censored, silenced. Now it's gone further. Now they rationalize assassination. Think about that. The FBI admits this was a political killing and the corporate press downplays it, spins it, even excuses it. That is the world we're living in today. But the backlash isn't just media spin. Wait until you hear what politicians are saying. Democrats rushing to blame the right, Republicans demanding a full investigation into left-wing violence. The divide is exploding, and it tells you exactly where this country stands tonight. So let's talk politics, because in Washington, the spin machine already in overdrive. Republicans are demanding a special select committee on left-wing violence. They're saying this wasn't just a shooting. It was the natural result of years of demonization, demonizing conservatives as Nazis and fascists. And honestly, they're right. Meanwhile, Democrats like Representative Seth Moulton, they're out there claiming like 76% of extremist murders are committed by the right, and that Charlie Kirk's assassination is just part of some vague both sides problem. Are you freaking kidding me? A conservative leader is assassinated in front of his own children. Wrap your mind around that for a second, okay? A conservative leader is assassinated in front of his own children, and your response is to read fake percentages off of a cue card and blame conservatives? The gaslighting is off the chain. It's at the highest level right now. So let's not forget when George Floyd happened, right? The left burned cities to the ground, but now conservatives come together in prayer for Charlie Kirk. One side rioted, the other side prayed. The contrast tells you exactly everything that you need to know about the moral divide in this country. And then came President Trump's address to the nation. Folks, it was powerful. He called this what it truly is, political assassination. He described Charlie Kirk as a patriot, a man of faith, a martyr for free speech and common sense. And he's right. Charlie, he dedicated his life since he was like, 14, to bringing young Americans into the political process. And that's exactly why the left wanted him silenced. But President Trump didn't just mourn, he promised action. Trump's pissed. He might not show it, but he's pissed. He vowed to hunt down every single individual and group behind this atrocity. He tied it directly to the attempt on his own life in Butler, Pennsylvania. Rather eerie similarities between these two attacks, if you think about it. And think about how close President Trump was to the fate that Charlie Kirk has suffered. So President Trump, he tied this situation here directly to the attack that he experienced in Butler, Pennsylvania several months back, I can't believe it's over a year ago now, to the ICE agent attacks that are taking place, the murder of the healthcare executive in New York, and even the shootings of Steve Scalise. He's saying what the media refuses to admit, that this wasn't isolated. This is a pattern of radical left political violence that must be stopped. So here's the part that should make every American, pissed off, okay? Or it should scare you, one of the two. Trump isn't just tightening his own security. He is warning this is a war for the future of free speech itself, because if Charlie Kirk can be assassinated for speaking his mind, and then all sorts of crazy people celebrating this atrocity, then what does this mean for the rest of us? That's the reality under the surface that President Trump is spelling out. But while Trump is leading, others are stepping in too. Vice President J.D. Vance, he just flew to Utah to personally comfort Charlie Kirk's family and to escort his body home. And that moment, J.D. with Erica and the kids, it's going to break your heart. Now, while the FBI tightens the manhunt and President Trump addresses the nation, Vice President J.D. Vance, he made his move. And folks, it was deeply personal. He flew directly to Utah on Air Force Two, not for politics, but to be with Kirk's family. He sat with Erica Kirk, a widow in shock, and their two children, both under the age of 5 years old. I cannot even begin to imagine what his kids may be thinking, if they can even comprehend what just happened to dad, if they're asking their mom, Erica, where's daddy tonight? I can only imagine. But just try to imagine that moment. Imagine telling two kids that daddy is never coming home because of his political beliefs. J.D. Vance, he then personally escorted Charlie's body back to Arizona, standing by the family every step of the way. And let's not forget, President Trump himself called Erica America, promising her his full support and vowing to attend the funeral. That's leadership. That is compassion, guys. But this is also a warning, okay? Because if the left can target a man like that, if the left can target the Charlie Kirks of the world, a young, full of faith, family man, then nobody's safe. And so this isn't just about one man's death. This is about what happens when political hatred crosses into violence and when entire families are left shattered in the wake of it. America's watching this. And the question is, will this nation rise together, or is this nation going to be fractured further apart? And so this is where it goes beyond politics. Conservative commentator Konstantin Kisin said something that really just kind of sent chills through me. He said Charlie Kirk's assassination felt like 9/11, that invisible line that you don't even realize exists until it's been crossed. And then all of a sudden, nothing will ever be the same again. Think about that. Attacks on, well, I should say, attempts on presidents, as shocking as they are, they're part of our history. But the targeted assassination of a 31-year-old conservative leader, a father of two, killed for daring to speak at a college campus, that hits different. That's America stepping into uncharted territory. Now, Kissin's words, they cut deep. The last time he felt this shift was 24 years ago today, September 11th, 2001. And so now, on September 11th, 2025, an odd anniversary, mind you, we feel it again. The rules have changed. The stakes are higher, and the future of free speech in America may very well hang in the balance. So here's where we are, guys. The FBI is closer than ever to an arrest, but the real question is, what happens when the truth comes out? Because if Alex Jones was right about this, then what else is already known that we haven't been told yet, right? So here we are. The FBI has the rifle, the ammo, the images, the trail. They're tightening the noose. They're offering six-figure cash rewards for tips, and they've confirmed what Alex Jones screamed from the rooftops. This is a political assassination, and the hidden clues that he exposed, they're real. They're now part of this federal case. But here's what keeps me up at night. If Alex Jones was right about this, about the premature headlines, the book published the day before, the eerie, scary song, the engravings, then what else has already been set in motion that we haven't been told about yet, right? Was Charlie Kirk just the first target, or maybe just the beginning? Because remember this, guys, the same online forums that predicted Charlie Kirk's death are now talking about who's next, right? So this isn't fear-mongering. These are their own words, and that means America is on a knife's edge tonight. So do not get comfortable. Do not tune this out, because the story is not over. The FBI may soon. They may make an arrest before we know it, maybe even a perp walk. But until the networks, the funders, the planners are exposed, none of us can rest, because what happened to Charlie Kirk was meant to silence you. And if they get away with it, then, they'll come for the next voice, and then the next, and then the next. So I'm just going to leave you with this. Stay alert, stay awake. Never forget the truth always breaks through, no matter how hard they try to bury it. Now, if Alex Jones was right about this, then we better start asking, what are they hiding from us next? Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with everyone you know, because tonight wasn't just about Charlie Kirk. It was about the survival of free speech in America. I'll see you guys next time. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below.